everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Breanna Nicole, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another language video because I know that you guys really like these, so I said why not. So today we're going to be talking about dialects and if they're important and which dialects you should learn, if there is any speculation as to why you should learn a certain dialect or why you shouldn't. And we're just going to discuss that today because that's one of the questions that I see around in the language learning community when it comes to Spanish, for instance. That usually seems to be a good topic of conversation. So the first thing that I'm going to address is that, is it important to learn a specific dialect in Spanish? And the answer is simply yes and no. When I'm speaking about dialects, by the way, I mean slang or certain regional jargon and even the accent. So are those things important? Yes and no. The reason why I say no is because when you're first starting out to learn a language, you're really just trying to grasp how to construct simple sentences and things like that. The last thing that you need to worry about is regional phrases and how different people from different countries speak and this, that, and the third. I know, for instance, when I was first learning Spanish, I really could not tell the difference from someone who was from Argentina to someone who's from Venezuela because everything sounded like jibber jabber to me. They would speak to me in Spanish and I couldn't understand anything. So there was no way that I was able to pick apart the dialect and the different regional jargon and their accents. And that's why I say when you're a beginner, it really doesn't matter. You're just trying to get the language down pat at first. However, once you start learning language for a certain period of time, you do start to pick up on, for instance, different accents or also slang that they may use, especially if you listen to a lot of music. A lot of the times artists use a lot of slang and jargon in their music. For instance, if you listen to a lot of reggaeton or trap, there's a whole bunch of jargon and slang, especially Dominican and Puerto Rican, mainly Puerto Rican slang in the reggaeton and trap songs, because that's pretty much who dominates the reggaeton and trap genre are Puerto Rican artists. For instance, if you listen to dembow, you're going to hear a lot of Dominican slang because that's who pretty much dominates the dembow genre, Dominicans, right? So anyway, you guys are able to slowly start to pick up on those cues, accents, different types of jargon, and this, that, and the third, and it may interest you. You may want to learn it. So the next question really is, which one should I learn? So whenever because I've typed this into Google just to see what people say, and a lot of the times they split up the Spanish from Spain and then Spanish from Latin America, but no one really ever talks about Spanish from the Caribbean. But Spanish from Spain is typically different from Spanish in Latin America. One, because of the accents for the most part, but there's different accents in Latin America. It's not just the Latin American accent that does not exist really. But also in Spain, they use, for instance, vosotros for the most part. I know in some places in Colombia and Argentina, they also use the vosotros form. But for the most part in Latin America, vosotros is not really a thing. So that's another difference between Spanish from Spain and Spanish from Latin America. Usually people choose to learn Spanish from Latin America because, first of all, usually it is more, I don't want to say more important because it's not, but it's easier to learn that because that's typically who you're going to be around, people who are from Latin America, because there are more people from Latin American countries than there are from Spain itself, because Spain is one country and Latin America is made up of literally 20 other countries. So therefore, sometimes it's a little bit more useful to learn Latin American Spanish. But when I say Spanish, Latin American Spanish, or Spain Spanish, just because you learn one or the other does not mean that you're going to be incomprehensible to other people. Other people from Spanish-speaking countries are going to be able to understand you. So don't think that when I say Spanish from Spain, Spanish from Mexico, whatever, that's a completely different thing, because it's not. So like I said, there's a difference between Latin American and Spain Spanish, but then there's also Caribbean Spanish, which many people don't talk about. Caribbean Spanish is very different in the fact that their accents are typically very different, and they speak very fast, and they use a lot of slang in their day-to-day life. They really do. Maybe that's why no one talks about it. But however, so which one should I learn then? If there's all these different types of Spanishes, what should I learn? Really, guys, you should learn what interests you. If you like Colombia, then learn Colombian jargon and Colombian Spanish. Learn the accent. For instance, if you really like Venezuela, then learn Venezuelan Spanish. You know, but sometimes what interests you really just isn't enough. So for instance, if you are working in a place where you know that predominantly the Hispanic population is, for instance, Mexican, it might really help you or benefit you to learn some Mexican jargon or some regional slang from Mexico. So when someone's speaking to you, you're not completely lost, and you may even, you know, be familiar with the jargon or slang that they're using when they're speaking with you. Same thing if you're in school or something, or you're going at a school where there's a lot of, I don't know, Salvadorians around you. It may be useful for you to learn, you know, a few different phrases from El Salvador, or, you know, learn the accent so you're used to it, and this, that, and the third. But simply, what interests you should be like your top motivating thing. If you want to learn, you know, Colombian Spanish, I don't know why I keep using Colombia as an example, but if you want to learn Colombian Spanish, then learn it. But it's also to say that just because you learn Colombian Spanish does not mean that all of Colombia speaks a certain way, because they don't. There's different accents in Colombia itself, different regional accents and things like that, just like in Mexico and just like anywhere else. So when I say Colombian Spanish, when I talk about the accent, there's different types of accents. There's someone from Medellin may sound completely different from someone from Bogota, okay? I don't really know any Colombian people, but I'm assuming that's maybe how it works. I don't know, but that's basically it. So for me, in my personal experience, I listen to a lot of reggaeton, a lot of trap, so I know a lot of Puerto Rican slang, I know a lot of Puerto Rican expressions, and I'm used to the accent. I also listen to a lot of dembow, a lot of bachata, you know, a lot of the merengue, for instance, a lot of Dominican dominated genres. I was trying to figure out how to word that, but so I also know a lot of Dominican slang. I'm also used to how they talk. I also studied there for 3 months, so I'm very used to how Dominicans talk, you know, their accents, how fast they speak, which, you know, we all know Dominicans do not pause or anything or anybody, so I'm very used to it. I listen to a lot of Celia Cruz, so, you know, I'm not really familiar with Cuban slang, but I do know, I'm familiar with the Cuban accent, okay? So, just to say, put it out there, I love how they speak in the Caribbean for just in general. It's beautiful. The way that they pronounce certain words, the flow, all of their music and everything in the Caribbean is just, I like it, okay? I like it. So I focus a lot of my Spanish, a lot of the jargon or slang that I use is probably somewhere from the Caribbean. I don't really know any Colombian or Venezuelan slang. The only Colombian slang that I could think of is like que hubo parcero, and like that's it. That's all I could think about, because I don't really know any Colombian people, and I don't listen to a lot of music or anything that originate from Colombia, because every country has their own genre of music and things like that. So I don't know. I just be chilling, you know. I listen to a lot of Karol G, but you know, I don't know. But basically, I just wanted to make this video for you guys because it is one of the most popular questions is, which Spanish should I learn? Basically, you guys should learn whichever Spanish you want to learn. But if you learn Venezuelan, Mexican, or Salvadorian, or even Guatemalan Spanish, people from the Caribbean, people from Spain, people from Argentina, people from everywhere are going to be able to understand you. Anyone that speaks Spanish will be able to understand you. And I know people joke about Chileans and no one understands them and no one understands what the hell they're saying. Look, if you learn because you really like Chile, go learn Chilean Spanish. Like, people are going to be able to understand you. You know, the only thing that may be different is the accent, but we have that in English, guys. Those who are not from New York or from the North, we all know that they have like accents that are very, 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 first of all, strong and are very different from the rest of the United States. But we can still communicate with them. Why? Because they speak English. A lot of the times they use a lot of slang that we may not be familiar with, because a lot of their slang is just different. I don't know, they got like a whole new world up in there, but we understand them because they speak English. People who live in the UK, we can understand them and we can talk with them because they speak English. You know, it's not a foreign language. They may use slang that we've never heard of, and we just ask like, hey, what is this? And then they explain it to us and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Or sometimes their accent may be a little bit different and it may sometimes be a little bit difficult to understand, but for the most part, we can understand people from the UK, from Australia, from, you know, the North, you know, New York, Jersey, and all of them. Those people are so special. I love y'all, I really do, but y'all got a lot of slang. And, you know, we can all understand each other because we all speak English. It's just we have different accents and we have different slang, which is like in any other language. So if that helps, just think about it that way. And if you guys are learning English, take that in for account too, because it's the same how it is in Spanish, how it is in English, and vice versa. So I really hope this video helped you guys kind of maybe decide on which type of dialects you want to learn, and if, you know, it's important to you, or if, you know, you want to go to Colombia one day. I don't know why I keep using Colombia as an example, but if you want to go to Colombia one day, or you want to live there, you know, it might really benefit you to learn el español colombiano. So I hope this video really helped you guys. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, do not forget to give me a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in my next video.